K-Talk Lab, where K-pop meets learning. Let's dissect verse 1 of Redred. We'll look at the exact vocabulary and sentence structure Cortis uses to set the mood. There's a line that goes,
따봐라 한모금.
It sounds poetic, but it's actually built from very practical Korean slang. First,
따봐라.
is actually a trendy Korean abbreviation. It combines
따뜻한.
means warm
바닐라.
and
라떼.
so it's a warm vanilla latte. Next, we have
하,
which means one and
모금.
which means sip. Together, the phrase translates to a sip of a warm vanilla latte. Structurally, Korean often places the object before the quantity. Instead of saying a sip of latte, you say latte, one sip. It's a simple, cozy image captured in just 2 words. Next up, we have the line,
카페인이 또.
kicking in. This is a classic mix of Korean and English. First, we have caffeine followed by the subject marker.
이,
Then comes
또.
which means again, the phrase ends with the English phrasal verb, kicking in, written in a way that feels raw and rhythmic. Structurally, Korean follows a subject adverb verb pattern. So instead of saying caffeine is kicking in again, the literal flow is caffeine again kicking in. It perfectly describes that moment the coffee finally hits your system. Now we're getting into the creative process with the line.
어젯밤에 만들던 비트.
This phrase is beautifully descriptive.
어젯밤.
Means last night and adding
에,
makes it at or during last night. Then we have
만들던.
which comes from the verb to make. The suffix
더.
is the secret sauce here. It implies an action that was happening in the past but wasn't necessarily finished. Finally, it ends with beat. In English, we'd say the beat I was making last night. But in Korean, the description comes before the noun. So it's literally last night I was making beat. It paints a picture of a producer returning to a work in progress. Finally, we have the movement in the lyric.
내 포에다 담아서 거리로 나가서.
This line is built onto connected actions. First,
내 폰.
means my phone.
담아서.
Means putting it in or loading it. Then,
거리로.
means to the street. And,
나가서.
means going out. The magic here is the suffix.
아서.
It works like the word and then to link a sequence of events. In English, we'd say, I put it on my phone and go out to the street. In Korean, it flows as one continuous motion. In my phone putting to the street going out. It perfectly captures that moment a creator takes their work out for a vibe check in the real world. Now we have a line that captures the group's energy.
5시 고개를 빙빙.
First, we have
5.
which is the native Korean number for 5, followed by the subject marker.
2.
Then comes
고개.
meaning head or neck with the object marker.
를.
Finally, the line ends with the catchy onomatopoeia.
빙빙.
In Korean,
빙빙.
describes a spinning or circling motion. Think of it like round and round. So the whole phrase translates to the 5 of us spin our heads round and round. Structurally, it follows the subject object adverb pattern, putting the who and the what before the how. Closing out the vibe, we have the line.
입꼬리는 올라가 히히.
This one is super cute.
입꼬리.
Refers to the corners of the mouth. The lyric uses the shortened form.
입꼬리인.
To act as the subject. Then we have
올라가.
which means to go up or to rise. Finally, it ends with
히히.
which is the Korean onomatopoeia for a giggling sound like he. Basically, the line means the corners of the mouth go up, he. It's the perfect way to describe a natural, uncontrollable smile. Structurally, it's a simple subject verb setup followed by a sound effect, making the joy feel instant and infectious. Next, we have the line that sets the boundary.
핸드폰 바꿔놔 GND.
First, we have
핸드폰.
which is the Korean phonetic spelling for handphone or smartphone. Then comes
바꿔놔.
a combination of the verb to change and an auxiliary verb that means to leave it in a certain state. Together, it means switch it over or set it to. Finally, it ends with DND, the English acronym for Do Not Disturb. Structurally, because the subject I or you is implied, the line goes straight into a object-verb pattern. Phone, switch over to DND. It's a direct, stylish way of saying, I'm putting my phone on silent. That wraps up our word-for-word breakdown of verse 1. Stay tuned, because the next section gets even deeper. See you.